Hi, I'm William Kahn.
Okay.
I'm here with Laura Mazard and Mariña Rey from Golden Wall Archive. We are presenting the first single from the second album. The single is called The Queen of Thorns. And it's the confrontation between a mother and her daughter. Now let's begin with the questions, okay? The first question is for the both of you. It's music related, but not related to the single or the project or the album. The first question is, what made you get into music and especially into singing? Laura, you are going to begin, okay? So would you like me to repeat the question?
No, I have the question in my mind. It's just that it's difficult. It's a difficult one because I went into music first of all when I was young, as many people, and I was so too shy to admit that I really wanted to make music, and especially singing. When you're shy, singing is quite difficult. Okay,
Yeah.
so I had it on my mind, and then I made a different. I encounter the composer of my band, Oikumen, and he wanted to make music, and then I said maybe I could sing, and then I said okay, I like to sing, and then it was okay for me that I had to sing because when you're singing, it's like you can say things you won't say with just words, but with music and singing you can say everything, so that's perfect.
Yeah. It's your turn, Mariña.
Well, I know because my parents told me that when I was very little, I had a little piano. It was a toy, and I really enjoyed playing with it. And I didn't have any idea of music. I just started the hearing and I played things. So they decided when I was 6 years old that I would start going to music classes, and then I went to actually a school of music for 4 years, and even though I left it, I still singing some choirs. I started in my high school. In my high school, it is so awesome. We have a choir, and it works actually very well. It's amazing to have that in your school, and see everybody enjoying it so much. It's amazing and it's so fun. And so I sing in other groups, and well, in your project.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to go to singing lessons. I just always kind of enjoyed it, and I wasn't bad at it, so it was fun, and it's a daily thing all the time. I sing around the house, and it's playful, and I enjoy it.
Yeah. Related to the shyness that that Lara was mentioned before, there was a time when I didn't sing in the house. Now I can't stop, and literally the people that live with me, my family, are like, "Yes, could you just shut up for a moment?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not going to."
Yeah, I understand that. I have the same problem with the neighborhood. Because when I'm taking classical lessons, and when it's really difficult to master this technique. So for maybe 5 years you're just doing horrible noise, and everything in the neighborhood just hates me for that. So it's impossible for me to practice at home. So I really need a place, a room where I can just isolate myself. Because if I'm just doing just one note, everything around me is shivering and shut up. Okay, stop. I stop.
I do have neighbors, and even though no one ever complained, I do not sing loudly at home because I'm terrified of making someone uncomfortable. So I hum in very low notes, but when I have to really practice some pieces that require power and really projecting the sound, I am terrified of making that at home.
Let's go with the second question then. Now, this one is related to the project. Now, second question. From what you've heard so far, what are your thoughts on your character?
Know that my character is not the good girl of the story. And I want to believe that she's not so bad either. For me, she is She is a warlord, of course, but she is hurted. I cannot imagine her without pain in her heart. So for me, it's the kind of characters, that use a shield to protect herself, and she has a big, a pride. She has a big pride, and she's sure that she is doing things in the right way. But well, when her daughters left her, for me, she has pain. She is not only nasty. For me, that's my idea. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just the Maleficent of the story.
There is a thing about this album, and is that in this story there is no villain, and there is no hero really. There is protagonist. There is not exactly an antagonist. The antagonist is not a character, it's a concept. It's the whole world, the desert world. That's the antagonist of all the characters. It's a prison, it's like something that fights against them, that stands in their way. The desert, the sands, the lack of food, the lack of water, all these things. It's not original. It's not an original thing to do, but it's quite different from, for example, the previous story that we told in the first album.
Well, from the girl from the sands, I guess I don't know if I would say naive, but she has this life inside her that she wants to see and explore the world and see new things. And maybe she has this kind of Disney princess stuff that I want to see more than I just know. And that's a cool thing, because I think she might be a very alive character. She has this strength and that positivity about what she can find, because she doesn't know what's outside, and maybe what is surrounding her is not that good, so she has nothing to lose. And that's also making her go forward and fight for knowing the new world that it's waiting for her outside everything she knows.
Yeah, that's quite accurate, because she actually doesn't have anything to lose, because what is in that planet. And even when she finds her mother, which is like the only tie, the only thread that binds her to the planet, she tries to convince her to go with her, so she actually doesn't leave anything behind.
I think for me, she was like Rey, in the last Star Wars. I imagined her like she has guts, because she comes to see her mother and asks her something. So for me, she was just stronger than you described her. That's so funny how we see each other's characters, I think.
Well, even though I compared her to a Disney princess, I'm sure that she's quite strong in that way, and she's got like a very strong personality, and it's admirable.
Now we are describing the character that I created, and now I can picture her in a similar way as Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't know if you play the video game or if you know a little bit about it, but the character that you're describing as the girl from the sands, curious but fierce, going forward all the time, that reminds me a lot about Aloy from Horizon. Now, third question. How do you identify with your characters? Do you think they are relatable, humane, or not? If you find yourself in the character, or if someone could find themselves in, related to that character.
Oh yeah, I think people can relate to any characters, in fact, because all the characters, for example, you made in your stories are so different, so you can relate to them. That's not a problem. And even for my character, which is a mother, and I think that's really interesting for me, at least, to sing a mother, because I never confront myself to a mother or being a mother, so it's quite interesting. So in this way, it was really, really strange to me to imagine how I could think like a mother, how I could think what is to be betrayed by the daughter, you see. So it was quite interesting for me to try to be with this kind of sensitivity and feelings, and yes, that was quite a challenge.
Yeah, I think that maybe the previous album, the characters were not that relatable. They were like more, like an epic story, like a tale. But in this story is more, instead of plot driven, instead of having a plot that drives the story, is more like emotionally driven. There is not lots of things happening. There is no fighting. There is no betrayal. There is no, it's not this kind of theme, but there's a lot of emotion. There is soloist song. Oops, spoilers. Soloist songs about personal matters of each character, and it's like overcoming those obstacles. Not only physical obstacles, but emotional obstacles.
Well, I think, as Laura, that your characters are relatable in some ways, and maybe I can't relate to mine in the way that I too would like to explore the things I haven't explored yet, and try to do new things, and what are the possibilities that I can find in my life. So, I haven't tried this yet, so I'm going to. I don't know if I will like this other thing, but I'm going to give it a try. And if I don't like it, then I can always say no, and I can stop it and do another thing. So maybe I can relate to her in that way.
Okay, let's go to the fourth question. How would you describe the single "The Queen of Thorns"? Either musically, lyrically, related to the lyrics, or vocally, whatever.
I would say catchy and emotional, if I can resume it in 2 words, because I think that the melodies are really nice, but it's often the case with your music. I think that you really can hear a music you have in your mind then. So for this, it's the ta 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 ta. You have it in mind for the day. That's really nice. You really get stuck by it, and it's in your mind, and it can brings you somewhere. And then emotional, because the way you wrote the lyrics, you cannot sing it without emotion. And the way that I think it's amazing that we could sing together without singing together with Mariña.
It's really amazing how you made a melody, and we actually see the conversation between mother and daughter, and that power, that fear. Maybe this is a bad idea, but I need this conversation, because if I don't have this really hard conversation, we cannot move forward for what I need, for what we need, for what it's good for both of us in our relationship, but also for what the world can give us. And that tension with music, the intensity of our voices, it's really interesting, powerful how the music really tells that.
It's interesting that you describe it, the dynamic between the 2 characters in that way, because it's actually a little bit different. It ends up in the thing that you said, about facing each other and coming to terms, and or fixing ties in a manner of speaking. But it's actually a little bit of okay, I come here to ask for your help, but because I'm interested.
Fixing that relationship within them both, but they agree that they have both something to take advantage for that plan.
That was not the initial intention, but they actually end up making peace with each other. You can hear it in the song. There is 2 different parts. The first part in which the Queen of Thorns sings the most fast and fierce and rageful, and the second part, which is more soft, more melodic, more ballad, but it has the same leitmotif, repeating the thing that you, Laura, mentioned before, the da 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 da. It shows how the relationship between both of them evolves into a different thing. at the end they come together, and that's the beginning of a coming to peace relationship or plotline, you can call it.
Yes, but we really hear that. For me, first, it's the anger itself. Then you have a confrontation with I will never let you in, you can plead, etc. This is a big confrontation that, no, I'm going to win. Oh, no, I'm going to plead. Okay. And then agreement.
Yeah, exactly.
It is alive. It's alive, the conversation.
Okay, let's go to the fifth question. The question is, what was your favorite line to sing from this song?
Oh, okay. My favorite line. I think I like the end. All the lines at the end. Favorite to sing, I would say, because it's the natural placement I'm using. But I also really liked trying my best on the first verses, which was fast with the chest voice. I'm not using so much, so it was a challenge. And I really like this kind of challenge. So I would say, in terms of challenge, I preferred the first verses. And then in terms of what brings me emotion, it's like I liked the end.
Well, I don't know if I have a favorite part, but I do remember when you were here and we recorded the whole thing, that you kind of asked me to do like, do a belting, and I was, I have no idea how to do a belting, and then I actually, you said that I actually did the belting, so it was fun to see that I could actually have that technique I didn't think I could do.
This one is really nice because it's desperate at this time, and we it's really please do that, and I really like the way you sing it. As I just have to make a special mention on that. When you're going low and you said, and I plead, the plead is so nice. Really.
Oh, well, much. I really enjoy listening to the song because it's like, wow, this sounds so good. I mean, and I love your voice, and I love how you do it. I love your technique. It just sounds so beautiful. So I love it.
There's too much love there. We have to hate ourselves.
With the hate to the haters.
You're right.
Okay, let's go to the next question. What was the most challenging part to record / sing?
The first verses.
Yeah,
the first verses was so fast, and my English is not so perfect. So I was like, I need to articulate and speak fast, and that's difficult.
Yeah, I remember that I told you to repeat once, but the one that I told you to repeat was the one that I thought it was the easier one. So you actually did perfectly well the second one, which was for me the most difficult, and you did it at the first time, but the first one don't, and I was like, damn. But everything went well.
Well, I don't know. Well, I don't remember actually what was a difficult part for me, because I just, when I have to record something, I'm like, well, this has to be good, and I cannot mess up. So much time singing, and with almost no time to rest, because we have to really use the time wisely, because we only have like one afternoon to record. It's like I had to do it, so much pressure, so it's just, the whole thing is so challenging.
Let me tell you what was. I have like hundreds of takes to prove it. It was the line when when you in the softest part of the song, when you go to the let us live this hell. You remember that let us live this hell?
Maybe that was it.
That we spent so much takes on that line. So yeah, I think that's probably the most challenging one. Okay, let's move on to the next question.
Next.
Would you describe the sound and style change from the previous album to this one?
Well, I would say that the first one was more epic and less progressive, and this one is more progressive to me. And the Queen of Thorns is quite. It's not the good example because I think it sounds a bit more like the former album, but all the other songs we heard for me is more progressive, and the emotion are more not quiet. I don't know how to describe it, but it's more inner emotions in this album than in the other one. It was very strong emotions like the mechanic heart, the betrayal, and for this one it's more travel.
It was like a plot. It was like an action plot, actually. You know, there were different actions going on. Not, and this one is more like an emotional growth of the characters rather than actual action. Because the only action that happens here is they travel, they walk across the sands. That's the only thing that they do.
Well, I don't know if I would be speaking in the music style, but it just the whole thing in the first album, it's so epic, and it's just this huge story. And being the White Queen in that story, I'm like, I have to be this flawless being, so perfect, but in suffering, and I have to make the audience listen to that I feel broken, but I still have to be a perfect being, and I have this pressure that I cannot break, but I'm broken already.
Yeah.
And compared to these new pieces and your new music, it's like, yeah, this is a chance for experiencing things. It's like more movement and more. I feel more alive, and wow, there are a lot of things that I can explore, and it's more not that epic. Is that it's more alive, more energetic, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. The main change for me is the style. The first one was more orchestral, you know, there was more orchestra driven. There was no big rhythms, there was no, big riffs. This one is more metal. It has maybe not that metal that people would expect. It has riffs, it has fast rhythms, it will have harsh vocals and very different things from a vocal perspective. It's going to be more progressive, more energetic, more rhythmic, more powerful, and more emotional. Okay, let's go to the next question, 8th question, which is a question now only for Laura. Okay? So, I don't know if this is your first time, but how does it feel to play a character with your voice?
That's so nice. So yes, that's the first time I am playing a character in a whole story, because I've already played, but for short scenes or for short shows, and I really like this because I get attached to my character, and I like the idea to embody someone. So when I was singing, I was already having in my mind that we could have a set, and we could have costumes, and we could tour around the world with big pyrotechnic and see. So that's like we'll do that.
Hopefully.
That's like opera for me. So I really like to play this kind of character there, and because it's interesting, because when you're just singing as you singer, you're singing the way you are and what you have in your mind and in your heart. And when you're embodying a character, you are you, of course, you're singing like you, but you have to try things that are not necessarily you. And that's just so nice to have this exercise. I really like it.
I remember you telling me that your vocal teacher actually would hate me for making you sing this character.
We're still hating you, because she has the off key notes on the Seas of Sound. She always saying to me, because I started lyrical singing like every metal fan, because I heard Tarja and I'm a huge fan of her. And she has a very dark sound. So at the beginning, I was singing like this, And my teacher was just, no, you're singing high. You have highs. Your voice is not low. And I was still singing like this. And because you wrote an angry part, and angry parts are not the most easiest part. And also because this is a queen, so I just imagine her with a lower voice, with a more dramatic voice. So I tried to do things like that, and my teacher was like, no, you're a little princess. No, I'm a Queen of Thorns. So no, that's why
the Queen of Thorns is not a little princess.
Oh no.
Okay, now Mariña, this is a question for you. How did you find different this character, either the character in itself or vocally, from the previous one, the White Queen?
Being the White Queen was like, as I told before, that you have to be this flawless being, and so it has to be perfect, it has to be ethereal, and you also have this suffering, but you have to stay still. So I would try to make the character be like strong but broken, but also keep trying to keep that ethereal feeling. And this one is more like, I'm adventurous and I want to do things, and I have a strength inside, so I'm going to use it, And I think that's the main difference, because also it helps that the characters are so different one from the other, that it helps actually.
I was a little bit hesitant to see how your voice would differ from the White Queen. The girl from the Suns has more fire emotions. The Queen of Thorns. The White Queen had a more cold emotions. It was a more depressive character, and this one is a more I don't know how to say it, more alive character.
Is it an impression? But I have this impression that with the White Queen, you were using more the head voice, and it was pure. And there you use more effects for me. I don't know all your lines in this album, but I had this impression that you were more using the chest there and more the over there.
Maybe being the White Queen, I would try to make the noise. This is stuff that going through behind the head and through the eyes, and very perfectly in the technique. And now I'm trying to be more my voice and more from the chest.
I don't know if you realized it, but there's going to be so many Easter eggs in this in this album, and I'm going to send the people that listen to it on a hunt. I'm gonna tell them, you tell me how many you can find. Upcoming song, without spoilers, are you the most eager for people to listen to?
Well, I really like the one with that famous guitar riff that disappears and reappears.
Okay, I know which one.
So I really like this, because I think that there is it's kind of you have it's like a gangster rap for me. There is a good vibes in it, and at the same time it's heavy. It's not the more metal one, but I really do like this heaviness, and that's cool, So I think this one, I assume this one, but it can also be the longest one, because it's always nice to have this big part.
I'm more eager for people to listen to the longest one, because it's the one that took me more time, that I put more effort into it, and now I'm currently finishing the writing of the lyrics, and they are good. The melodies are so fucking good. I don't know how I'm going to mix it, but it's going to be good.
I'm really excited for people to hear the one that is already finished and to listen to the whole album. But yeah, you have to kill me in this one. I don't remember how everything sounds, but I know your melodies are sticky, and once they hear them, they are going to be stuck in their head for weeks.
Well, now the questions are done. It took us way longer than expected. Anyway,
We're talkative, so
you want to say something about the song that we are about to release, the single? Now is your chance.
listen to it. Everybody, listen.
Yes, please. It sounds just so good, and Laura Guille did an amazing work, and it's just awesome. And I don't know if we can say, but it's almost breathtaking. It's just, if you listen to it, you certainly will enjoy it.
In all music platforms, go check it out. You will see these two women, wonderful voices. And if you put your eyes so close, maybe mine too. But anyway, that would be it. It was a pleasure talking to you both. So, well, bye bye. I won't keep you longer.
Bye.
We'll